How the hell did you survive that? Let's just say it how it is. There's a lot of characters in My Hero Academia that should have died. Okay, look, I really do love My Hero Academia, and there's a lot of characters within the series that I care about and love as well. But even some of the characters I like, in retrospect, they should have died considering what they went through during the events of this story. I truly find it unbelievable that some of these characters made it to the end of the story. It's anime plot armor at its finest. Okay, so currently I am working on another video for this channel, and I'm also working on a few projects on my gaming channel if you're interested. However, after discussing this very topic with a few friends of mine very recently, I decided to sit down and make a video about it. So yeah, this is very last minute, just drop everything else I'm doing and let's just focus on this video type of mentality here. Let's talk about some characters from My Hero Academia who, in retrospect, should have died throughout the story. Okay, so for me, when I first watched My Hero Academia, which by the way, I was very late to the party here. The series was already on its 4th season when I finally sat down and watched My Hero Academia. Anyway, I'm watching the USJ arc, and I see this happen to one of the pro heroes, 13. No joke guys, I thought she died here. I thought this was her death. I thought she got killed basically by her own quirk being used against her. At least the way it was presented in the anime and the way the characters reacted to her being hit by her own quirk and then collapsing to the floor. I thought she died. I thought that was it. Now, I would admit, maybe it would have been harsh to kill off a character literally after we just met her, but at the same time, this was the USJ arc, the first arc to properly introduce us to the main villains of the show. I don't know, I feel like it would have been a very effective way to establish the villains that, even at this point, despite the way Shigaraki is this early on in the story, these are the villains, these are the threat. Already we see that the villains aren't afraid to kill. Hell, the whole reason why they attacked the USJ in the first place was to try and kill All Might. So yeah, I don't know, 13 was a character I thought we met and said goodbye to within the first arc we met her. How about we talk about another pro hero who I thought died pretty much as quickly as we were introduced to him. Best Jeanist, one of the top pro heroes. During the Hideout Raid arc, All For One literally puts a hole through Best Jeanist's body. He's bleeding. He's literally just been stabbed through his body, literally, man. And the way he collapsed to the floor, and the fact that this is meant to be the big bad of the series, and let's be honest, the first time we actually see him in action, like this is the very first action scene we see All For One in. This is basically the audience meeting this character for the first time in a way. Sure, obviously this isn't his actual first scene, but this is his proper entrance scene. This is the scene where we meet All For One for the first time to see what he's actually capable of without other characters just telling us how dangerous he is. Was I crazy for thinking that he just killed Best Jeanist right there and then? I would say that would have been an effective way to establish your main villain. By the first time you see him in action, he immediately kills one of the pro heroes, one of the top ones at that. I thought Best Jeanist died here, man, I really did. And then later on in the story we find out that no, he survived. Best Jeanist did suffer a bit from his injuries here, he lost a lung, and generally he's not the healthiest anymore. But he's still alive, he's still kicking, we obviously know he gets involved in the action again later on in the story. And much like 13, Best Jeanist pretty much has Recovery Girl to thank for surviving as well. Recovery Girl is basically the reason why the heroes won. Can we all agree on that? If her quirk didn't work the way it did, or if she just simply didn't exist and wasn't at UA, the heroes would have lost. I'm almost certain of that. Honestly, even though I do like the character, I feel like he should have died. If not as early on with All For One, maybe later on during the fight against Shigaraki and, you know, the war arc. War is hell after all. Some characters, like I said in the intro, should have died. Like that's the whole point of this video obviously, but I really do think it should have happened. There should have been more deaths during the war arc. Like let's be honest, who died during the final few arcs of My Hero Academia when it was all about the war? Let's see, Toga died, Shigaraki died, All For One obviously died. What was left of the previous One For All users are gone for good. Can you see how much I'm struggling with this? I'm not saying we needed to have a bloodbath here, but more characters, especially on the hero side, should have died, especially during the war arc. How the hell is Edgeshot still alive after what he did for Bakugo? He's probably the biggest contender of just what the fuck is this bullshit, how are you not dead? So a brief recap, even though an argument can be even made for how Bakugo's survival was pretty bullshit and how he should have died, I'm not going to focus on that part. Because even though I will admit the way Bakugo survived is pretty bullshit, again, anime plot armor at its finest, I'm willing to let that slide. What I don't like, or what I don't think should have slid, is the fact that Edgeshot survived as well. Bakugo's heart stopped. Bakugo was dead. We all remember this, we all know this. This is probably one of the most talked about moments from My Hero Academia. It's a great scene in both the manga and the anime. The voice acting is amazing from both the Japanese and English voice actors. Edgeshot, let's be honest, this minor hero character who barely had any screen time before this point, it's just like, it's okay. I've got a quirk that'll put my life at risk, but I might be able to jumpstart Bakugo's heart if I basically become a piece of string and try to perform CPR on his body from the inside. Okay, risky play, not very attached to this character, but I give him respect for being willing to try and do this. The fact that he might die, yeah, again, he doesn't have the most screen time, I'm not that attached to this character. But if this is the way Edgeshot goes out, I think it's a very heroic way for a hero to die. But then let's fast forward to later on, where Bakugo's heart starts beating again. Not only is it established that Bakugo's heart started working again, even without Edgeshot's help, like I'm sure Edgeshot did do something to help, right? It wasn't completely in vain, but the story did make an effort to imply that even without Edgeshot's help, Bakugo could have potentially have come back from the sweat of his quirk. So Edgeshot made this risky life-threatening play for potentially nothing because Bakugo basically revived himself with his own quirk. The fact that it's implied that Bakugo could have been fine / wake up again and come back without Edgeshot even doing what he did, I think is absolutely wild. I think that's crazy. As if that wasn't weird or questionable enough, Edgeshot, despite the way he looks, like he's a freaking noodle. He's a little noodle worm boy now. He's alive. He survived. Are you mad? The fact that he or Best Jeanist stated a few times that this will probably mean death for him, and he's still alive. He survived. How? How are you alive? You should have died, Edgeshot. I'm sorry. To all the Edgeshot fans out there, he should be dead. The last time we see him before the time skip, got a good laugh out of me and my friends when we were watching it together. Just him shaking his arm and he's just like, look, I've got arms now, I've got hands. I don't even know if it counts as anime plot armor. This is a level above anime plot armor, man. This is ridiculous. Edgeshot isn't even a main character. Let's jump over to another character who should have died. Gran Torino. I've seen a lot of people online say this already, so I'm basically beating a dead horse here, but yeah, that old man should have died too. I love Gran Torino as a character, but you guys remember what Shigaraki did to him, right? Look at him. Look at what happened to him. This man survived that. He's already an old, elderly man. Especially later on in the story when Deku has his, Dark Deku arc, his Vigilante arc. Wouldn't it have made sense for one of the reasons why he's made this choice is because Gran Torino died after what Shigaraki did to him? It would have made sense, it would have had an impact on Deku as a character and on the story in general. This is when Shigaraki completely becomes the most dangerous villain, arguably on the whole planet. Why not, during his fight scene against the heroes, even with his quirks being neutralized by a Razorhead, have it so that he kills one of the main mentor characters, one of the oldest heroes who's still in active duty? It just makes sense. It would have been impactful, it still would have gotten a shock out of the audience, people still probably would have cried about Gran Torino dying, and it just would have made sense. So like I said earlier in the video, I was pretty late to My Hero Academia. It was already 4 seasons in, it had the first movie, it had a few OVAs already. So needless to say, I had a lot to binge when I first started watching My Hero Academia. Not entirely a bad thing, binge watching is just how I roll. Especially since this was during COVID time, so gave me something to do. And during the Overhaul arc, specifically the beginning, when Twice first brings Overhaul to the villains, one scene that stuck with me was when Overhaul killed Magna, one of the members of the League of Villains. When Overhaul killed Magna, my initial reaction was, holy shit, people can actually die in this series. characters in this show can actually die during the present timeline? I didn't know this could happen. This is a first. I thought 13 died, but she came back. I thought Best Jeanist died, but he's okay. Magna, though, that was a proper death. And at the time, I guess you would say it gave me kind of like a reminder or establishing that, yes, characters can die during the story, and they will die. But man, it's very rare. Focusing on the League of Villains, Twice's death was pretty emotional, I would say. And also an effective death for when it happened. Hawks definitely didn't want to do it, but obviously he had to. I was sad to see Midnight die the way she did. It kind of sucked that we never really got to see her in action beforehand, but at least she was an established character where we had plenty of scenes with her, and other characters such as Mina Ashido looking up to her as a proper role model and teacher and hero. So yeah, it's not like characters didn't die in My Hero Academia, but man, it took a while for characters to be killed. Briefly mentioned earlier, I understand why some people believe he should have died. I am glad that Bakugo didn't die in the end. I think it would have really sucked if he did. However, I understand why people do argue for the fact that he should have died. But I think Bakugo can get away with the way he survived, even though it is pretty bullshit. I acknowledge that it's bullshit. But that's the whole reason why I think it's extra bullshit that Edgeshot didn't die. Like, that could have been a major development moment for Bakugo. I mean, he's already come so far at this point already, right? So maybe it would have been a bit redundant. But at the same time, Bakugo will live on knowing that Edgeshot gave his life to save him, to give him a chance to still be a hero. That would have been great in my opinion. I don't know why we didn't get that. It just makes sense. Anyway, this is probably where I would end the video. I'm pretty much finished ranting by myself about this topic. However, since this was something that my friends and I discussed very recently that gave me the motivation to make this video in the first place, let's get their opinions. Let's get this question out of the way first. Should someone have died from Class 1A?
Would it be wrong if I said Mineta?
Well, I think that's the obvious choice. Oh yeah, if anyone's gonna die, it's gonna be the comic relief character that no one really likes.
I think people would have cheered if he died.
I get it, dude. You're surrounded by a lot of pretty ladies in Class A. Keep those thoughts in your head, not out.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Mineta did bite it. I think everybody would have cheered. You would have get some people like, no, we care for him. And we'd be like, really?
No, Deku cares.
You don't speak for us.
We? What's this we stuff?
We're not French.
Honestly, I know I can go an obvious joke that Ojiro could have bit it at any point. Because I think out of everyone else next to Sato, he doesn't really do much. I mean, yeah, he gets his licks in. He does the fights. If he wins, it's because of the group thing. But put him on his own, what does he do?
I don't think many people would have even noticed if he died.
His death could have sparked a bit more into the plot. I'm not saying because haha, Ojiro's got bited. But imagine if someone did die from Class 1A, how much the stakes would have been raised if that one person did actually die in the story.
Well, the most common one for that is Bakugo. A lot of people think he should have died. And technically he did.
Man had too many red flags. That was just a running joke.
I mean,
I see.
Medically speaking, and this is me using bare bones knowledge, so fact check me if you want. Considering he's sweating what is essentially nitroglycerin, his heart should give out, period.
Yeah, but their bodies are made different because biology. Bullcrap.
Yes, I know quirks are bullshit, but still, that's just basic chemistry.
There's a quirk for that.
There's a quirk for everything. Hell, there's probably a quirk out there to help guys with their ED.
That's horrible. Because that's the thing. Remember in the series itself, it's literally when a kid gets to a certain age, when they're young, their quirk develops. So it's how do you explain that to a kid? That you help somebody's erectile dysfunction go up. How does that work?
With all the stupid fucking quirks that exist in that one, I'm sure they'll find a way somehow.
I feel like there's a lot that are just
Eraserhead?
Easy fun.
A Razorhead would have hit hard if he died. I'm glad it didn't happen, but now that you say that, it would have probably would have been one of, if not the most impactful deaths in the entire series.
Definitely. Say if he died in the final battle, as Monoma tries to help him, but he can't because he has to keep the freaking eyes on Shigaraki. Imagine if he died then and there. It's Man, would have sucked.
Or he's the very last death before they defeat All For One.
The last sacrifice.
The very last one to die, using his quirk one more time to fuck All For One over. But All For One is able to get to him and kill him.
The trope of like the mentor dying at some point in the story would make sense. I'm kind of happy that was subverted. What wasn't subverted is just the fact that, okay, half of these people should have died. I don't care what you say, like, oh yeah, no, they're still kicking. Like, excuse me, Gran Torino, you're old as hell. How did you survive twice at the near-death point?
Oh, what about anyone from Class B? Would we have cared?
Who?
Okay, that's that.
There's just like the handful of students they put like the emphasis on. I would not care. Oh, man who could turn his hands into like spinning formation. Oh, well, you're dead. Oh no.
The power of onomatopoeia and comic panels.
Oh no, glue guy is dead. The other glue guy is dead. Oh no!
I think the only ones who would care would be the shippers, but we're not in that community right now.
I don't know. I ship Edgeshot with death pretty hard.
Okay,
would you love me if I was a worm? In the manga, when that was coming out chapter for chapter, it's like, oh, okay, Edgeshot's doing the sacrifice. Bakugo is gonna come back. That's obviously what they're setting up. But then it's revealed by like later on he is just in a worm's body. I'm like, how? Dabi should have been it.
Yeah.
Like, before I go into my topic, I just want to point out Dabi should have freaking been it. I know freaking like the whole point is that he's suffering and the whole Todoroki family suffering, but come on, man, he was literally just a husk corpse.
He was a corpse.
A husk of a corpse.
He was beef jerky.
Basically. Yeah. So like the fact that he's still alive is like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just like, how is he not dead? I know it probably wouldn't happen because it's not in his character other than the dark form, but like, what if Muscular did die at some point? Like, you know, probably not to Dark Deku, but I mean, he was
let Dark Deku kill him.
I feel like if he was to be killed, it would be by one of the other villains.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, after getting knocked down, he just gets, you know, one tap by somebody else and just dies. Lady Nagant is still bullcrap. The fact that frickin' All For One put a quirk that made her blow up, legit blow up, and she's still fine. Sure, she's badly injured, but
quirks are bullshit.
She whoops
that's great that you
trademark.
Yeah, she just walks it off. Excuse me, you exploded. Unlike the other characters who can pretty much take explosions, a point blank blast should have killed. I'm trying to think if there's any other villains. I mean, Overhaul, I think maybe could have, but I think they kind of handled.
Should have. Not could have. Should have. I'm not strong about this.
I don't know, but the fact they somehow still reveal that he's kicking and, you know, gets the karma, I guess. So it's kind of like faith worse than death and all.
There's something satisfying seeing the man suffering the way he is at the end of the series.
I still will have murdered the son of a bitch in the police van.
Oh yeah, he deserves
honestly,
to be dead.
That was the setup that I was thought they were gonna do. Is just, you know, freaking
rip off the arms, let him bleed out.
Yeah, or have just Shiraki freaking like kill him, but there's like, nah, I'd rather let you suffer. And he just freaking disintegrates a hand while Compress just takes the other.
And if it isn't him that had to die, it's Redestro. You tell me Shigaraki should have just killed him off right off the bat.
I mean, besides supplying the army, which probably would have happened if Shiraki did kill him, what did Redestro like give him afterwards that made
nothing
him
really? I mean, thanks to his legs being gone, his quirk couldn't even be fully utilized anymore.
So much for your meta liberation there, eh? There, Dr. Doof.
No, the doctor was arrested, right? He didn't freaking die.
He was arrested.
He was arrested.
That's another one who needs to get lynched.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they hung him afterwards.
Unless you guys want to add anything else, I'll be happy to just cut it here.
I can't think of anything. You?
I don't know. The last thing in the video, Ojiro sucks.